Earth through its 2.2-meter dish antenna. The incredibly weak radio signals whispered by the Mars Orbiter mission spacecraft will be received by the antennas of the Indian Deep Space Network at Bailalu near Bangalore. The Indian Space Science Data Centre, ISSDC, also located at Bailalu, will receive, organize, process and systematically store and distribute the scientific data gathered by the payloads of the spacecraft. Other ground stations located around the world will support the Mars Orbiter mission at specific times. The journey of the Mars Orbiter mission spacecraft to the Red Planet is a challenging as well as an exciting one indeed. The launch window, the interval of time during which the spacecraft can be efficiently launched to Mars in 2013, extends from October 28th to November 19th. The first phase of the spacecraft's journey will begin with its launch on board the uprated or XL version of India's workhorse launch vehicle, PSLV. The mission to launch India's first Mars spacecraft happens to be the 25th launch of the versatile and well-proven PSLV and is designated as PSLV. For the first time, ship-borne ground station terminals stationed in the Pacific Ocean will be used to monitor the performance of the PSLV's fourth stage, as well as the separation of the Mars Orbiter mission spacecraft from that stage. This parking orbit extends 250 kilometers on one side and 23,500 kilometers on the other side from the surface of the Earth. Later, the liquid apogee motor LAM, which is the main rocket engine of Mars Orbiter mission spacecraft, will be repeatedly fired to ultimately make the spacecraft follow a path to encounter Mars by September 2014 in its orbit. During its 300-day journey to Mars, the spacecraft will leave Earth's sphere of influence when it will move beyond 1 million kilometers from Earth. Then, it will travel in a curved path mostly under the influence of the Sun. Finally, when the spacecraft is about 500,000 kilometers from Mars, it will come under the sphere of influence of Mars. As the spacecraft nears Mars after its 10-month-long journey, lasting millions of kilometers from Earth, its LAM will be fired again, this time an orbit around it. Once safely in an orbit around Mars, an intense observation of the Red Planet using its scientific paces at the time of building India's Mars spacecraft. Prominent among them were issues related to the radiation-intense environment in which the spacecraft has to operate during its lifetime, and wide temperature variations which it has to tolerate. Another challenge was the reduction in the power generation capability of its solar panels due to low solar illumination near Mars, as the Red Planet lies much further away from the Sun. In addition, the critical role of the spacecraft propulsion system, consisting of thrusters and LAM, made them to take additional measures to enhance its reliability. Nevertheless, based on their past experience, they confidently met those challenges and built the Mars Orbiter spacecraft in a record time of about a year. The result? India's trusted launch vehicle PSLV triumphantly waits to launch the spacecraft as the world watches. One of the prominent features of India's first Mars spacecraft is its ability to autonomously assess its health and take suitable actions at certain times to rectify problems on its own. This has been incorporated into the spacecraft due to the long communication delay time of up to a maximum of 42 minutes, due to the enormous distances separating Earth and Mars. Thus, ISRO has persevered to meet the daunting task of building a state-of-the-art planetary spacecraft in an extremely limited time. As the launch time nears, like many of their countrymen, thousands of ISRO scientists who have toiled for the Mars orbiter mission are filled with excitement and wait with bated breath for India's maiden odyssey to Mars.
Stand by for the time mark. Mark minus 27 minutes and counting.
P1 here, go ahead. P1 pulsar on.
Welcome to the viewers in India and across the world. Good afternoon. We invite you to the live telecast of the path-breaking launch of India's historical Mars orbiter mission on the 25th launch of PSLV, the PSLV C-25. We are speaking to you from the Mission Control Center, MCC, at Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota, the spaceport of India. My name is Adi Murthy, and I have here with me my colleague, Dr. Alok Srivatsav. We both bring to you live this exciting launch to our nearest planet, the Mars. A momentous event like this is indeed very rare, and such a moment is to be cherished in the scientific history of any nation. Today, the PSLV C-25, the 25th mission of India's workhorse launch vehicle PSLV, will carry the 1,335 kilograms Mars orbiter satellite into an elliptic orbit of 250 kilometers perigee and 23,500 kilometers apogee altitude as a first step of the spacecraft's long journey to the red planet Mars. All the operations of the countdown, which started 56 hours ago, are progressing very well, and we expect a very good liftoff in about 16 minutes. The launch of the Mars orbiter mission will take place today at 14 hours, 38 minutes, 26 seconds Indian Standard Time, that is 9 hours, 8 minutes, 26 seconds Universal Time. I now request my colleague, Dr. Alok, to welcome the viewers in Hindi.
नमस्ते, शुभ दिन। मैं आलोक श्रीवास्तव अपने वरिष्ठ वैज्ञानिक साथी डॉक्टर वी आदिमूर्ति जी के साथ आप सभी देश विदेश के दर्शकों का हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। हम इस समय इसरो के सतीश धवन अंतरिक्ष केंद्र श्रीहरिकोटा के अभियान नियंत्रण केंद्र से आपको आंखों देखा हाल प्रस्तुत करेंगे। आज PSLV C-25 और MOM मार्स ऑर्बिटर मिशन उपग्रह का प्रक्षेपण किया जाएगा। आज का दिन हमारे अंतरिक्ष कार्यक्रम में एक नया पड़ाव लेकर आ रहा है, जब हम अपने इस अभियान को पूरा करने के साथ ही एक ऐसा इतिहास रचने जा रहे हैं जो आने वाले दिनों में एक मील का पत्थर साबित होगा। किसी भी अंतरिक्ष विज्ञान समृद्ध राष्ट्र के लिए वो दिन बहुत मायने रखता है जब वो शेष विश्व की तकनीकी और विज्ञान के उन्नत राह पर कदम से कदम मिलाकर चलने को तत्पर तैयार हो। गर्व और उत्साह, आत्मविश्वास और प्रगति पथ पर अग्रसर होने की चाह जैसी भावनाओं का मिला जुला प्रवाह आज मार्स ऑर्बिटर मिशन के हर भारतीय के दिल में जागृत है। ध्रुवीय उपग्रह प्रक्षेपण यान PSLV की ये 25वीं तथा संवर्धित संस्करण PSLV XL की 5वीं उड़ान हमारे लिए बेहद महत्वपूर्ण है। इसरो के इस अभियान में लगभग 44.4 मीटर ऊंचे PSLV को प्रथम प्रक्षेपण स्थल से छोड़ा जाएगा। इस उड़ान में छोड़े जाने वाला उपग्रह भारत MOM का प्रथम अंतर्ग्रही अभियान है। अंतरिक्षीय ताकत रखने वाले देशों में मंगल अभियान के क्लब में अमेरिका, रूस, चीन, जापान और यूरोपीय संघ पहले से ही शामिल हैं। MOM पूरी तरह से स्वदेशी तकनीकी द्वारा निर्मित उपग्रह है तथा इसका भार 1337 किलोग्राम है। इसे 250 बाई 23,500 किलोमीटर की दीर्घ वृत्तीय कक्षा में छोड़ा जाएगा, जो 19.2 डिग्री झुकी हुई होगी। इस उपग्रह को भारतीय समयानुसार आज अपराह्न 2:38 और 26 सेकंड पर प्रक्षेपित किया जाना है। इसके पश्चात उपग्रह को परावलय पथ पर नौ संचालित कर दिया जाएगा, जहां से उपग्रह अपनी पूर्व नियोजित मंगल की कक्षा के लिए अग्रसर हो जाएगा। डॉक्टर आदिमूर्ति जी।
Thank you, Dr. Alok. And you can see here large number of scientists carefully watching various parameters, hundreds and thousands parameters of the launch vehicle and the satellite in the Mission Control Center at Sriharikota. We'd like to tell you how this beautiful, fantastic vehicle PSLV is integrated. In the next few minutes, we will give you a small video which tells step by step, brick by brick, how this vehicle has been integrated.
जी हाँ, ये एक छोटी सी वीडियो क्लिपिंग आप देख सकते हैं, जहां पे रॉकेट को किस तरह से PSLV C-25 को किस तरह से समाकलित किया गया, इसका जीता जागता चित्रण आपके सामने है।
The first is the base shroud and the nozzle end segment of PS1 stage being moved to the launch pad. This happened on the 5th of August. PS1 stage has 5 segments totaling 138 tons of propellant loading. This is being moved to the launch pad for assembly, being lifted up.
और इसी तरह से आप देख सकते हैं कि जो 5 हिस्सों में बटा हुआ ये जो प्रथम चरण था, इसे 5 अगस्त को बेस सेगमेंट और नोजल को एक साथ लाया गया है और मिड सेगमेंट को उससे जोड़ने के पश्चात हम इग्नाइटर असेंबली के संयोजन का कार्य आरंभ करेंगे। ये देख सकते हैं आप किस तरह से प्रथम चरण को संयोजित किया जा रहा है, इसके अनेक घटक एक दूसरे के साथ जोड़े जाते हैं।
There are a total of 5 segments in this first stage of PSLV, PS1, and one segment has been assembled along with the base shroud, and the remaining 4 segments assembly is going on. All the segments are assembled together, and they will be together and making the complete PS1 stage, and this making of the PS1 stage complete is finished by 14th August.
जी हाँ, ये इसी तरह से 14 अगस्त को ये खत्म किया गया और ये प्रथम चरण का जो अंतिम घटक था उसे भी एक साथ लाके, और ये आप देख रहे हैं कि किस तरह से उसे जोड़ा जा रहा है, समायोजित किया जा रहा है, ताकि PSLV XL की तैयारियों में एक अगला कदम बढ़ाया जा सके। ये इग्नाइटर असेंबली है जिसे बीच में चरण के बीच में इस तरह से समायोजित किया जा रहा है।
Okay, you can see the igniter of the PS1 being carefully assembled.
और ये रोल कंट्रोल पैकेज जो है उसे भी साथ में ले जाके प्रथम चरण के साथ जोड़ दिया गया है, और इस तरह से प्रथम चरण के अगले कदम की ओर थ्रस्टर कंट्रोल पैकेज को भी साथ में ले जाया जा रहा है।
Okay, the PS1 roll control thrusters are being assembled, then the SITVC tank, secondary injection thrust vector control. It is a very important component for the control of the vehicle in the first stage, and those tanks which have the SITVC fluid are being assembled. There are 2 SITVC tanks diagonally opposite sides of the vehicle being placed, SITVC tanks.
जी हाँ, इस तरीके से ये जो SITVC जो पैकेज हैं, इन्हें बेसिकली व्यास की विपरीत दिशा में एक साथ जोड़ा जाता है, ताकि ये उचित दिशा में क्रियात्मक कदम उठा के प्रणोद बल को दर्शा सके। और ये आप देख सकते हैं 12 मीटर लंबे 1 मीटर व्यास वाले 6 स्ट्रैप ऑन मोटर्स को एक साथ अलग-अलग दिशाओं में जोड़ा जाएगा।
Okay, the strap-on motors are being assembled. These strap-on motors are XL strap-on, extended strap-ons, and which are at 12 meters length. They came in horizontal position and to 9 degrees. And this canting is required for control stability in the first stage. And all these are so that the thrust passes through the CG and doesn't give any moment.
तो ये जो नोजल था, ये स्ट्रैप ऑन मोटर का, ये नोजल लगभग 9 डिग्री अपने अक्षीय स्थिति से झुका हुआ होता है, ताकि जो प्रज्वलन के दौरान उत्पन्न हुआ प्रणोद बल था उसे एक विशिष्ट अपेक्षित दिशा में प्राप्त किया जा सके, ताकि जो प्रक्षेपण यान है उसे एक निर्धारित और अपेक्षित दिशा दिया जा सके। और ये जो इंटर स्टेज है, जो अंतर सतह है, अंतःचरण है, उसका ये समावेश किया गया PS1 और PS2 के बीच में। और ये आप देख पा रहे हैं PS2 चरण, जिसे एक अलग दूसरी बिल्डिंग में समायोजित किया जाता है।
Okay, a moment ago, the interstage between the PS1 PS2 stages has been mated with PS1 stage, and you also saw the 8 numbers of retromotors which help in the separation. And now the PS2 stage assembly is going on. The stage is completely assembled in the stage preparation bay, and then it is brought here, and then it's coming in the horizontal position and is being lifted.
तो द्वितीय चरण जो है, इसे एक साथ अलग स्तर पर संयोजित करने के बाद इसे जो MST है, मोबाइल सर्विस टावर है, उसमें ले जाया जाता है और वहाँ पे पूरी तरह से जो परीक्षित चरण है उसे एक साथ, ये आप देख पा रहे हैं, जो अंतः चरण है, इंटर स्टेज है, दोनों चरणों के बीच की, वहाँ पे इसे संयोजित करने की कोशिश की जा रही है। और इस तरीके से जो नोजल है वो धीरे धीरे जो इंटर स्टेज है उसमें नीचे उतरता हुआ, और यहाँ पे इसे संयोजित करने के बाद ये जो प्रक्षेपण यान है उपग्रह का, उसे एक साथ 2 स्टेजों में जोड़ दिया जाएगा।
So the PS1 stage is completely assembled and it is mating with the rest of the vehicle. And at this time, very important things are happening as we are seeing the integration of the vehicle, how the vehicle is built up step by step. A lot of important things have happened, and we will try to give you feedback of what has happened in the Mission Control Center during the last few minutes. One of the major things that has happened is that we are now at T minus 16 minutes 27 seconds, and soon everyone will see that all the things are ready. Tracking station is ready, telecommand station is ready, electronic powers is ready, computers are ready, range safety system is ready, the tracking system is ready, satellite is getting ready, and vehicle is ready in all respects. And based on all the inputs, the mission director will authorize to proceed with the launch. We are waiting for the authorization of the mission director for the launch on the progress of all the activities.
जी हाँ, इस समय हम प्रतीक्षा कर रहे हैं उस घड़ी की जहाँ पे ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस जो है उसे इनिशिएट कर दिया जाएगा और जो अनुमोदन बोर्ड है प्रक्षेपण यान का, उसकी अनुमति प्रदान कर दी जाएगी कि इस प्रक्षेपण को सफलतापूर्वक आगे बढ़ाया जा सके। और इसके साथ ही हम बिल्कुल कुछ ही क्षणों दूर हैं, इस समय काउंटडाउन है, T0 माइनस 15 मिनट्स 26 सेकेंड्स दूर हैं हम प्रक्षेपण के। और आप देख सक रहे हैं अपने स्क्रीन पर विभिन्न जो चरणों को दिखाया जा रहा है रॉकेट के, और अलग अलग जो चरण हैं उन्हें एक साथ समायोजित करने के बाद ही प्रक्षेपण का समय निर्धारित होता है। इस तरीके से आप अपने प्रथम स्क्रीन पे लगातार आते हुए आंकड़ों को देख पा रहे हैं, और साथ ही जो सारे वैज्ञानिक हैं वो बड़े उत्साह से एक निर्धारित कार्यक्रम के तहत घटने वाले घटनाक्रम को ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं।
Excellent. The satellite is also ready and the launch has been authorized considering all the progress that has taken place so far. The launch has been authorized.
जी हाँ, प्रक्षेपण की अनुमति अनुमोदन बोर्ड ने दे दी है, और इसके साथ ही अब आगे की गतिविधियां सुचारू रूप से अबाध गति से जारी रहेंगी, ताकि जो प्रक्षेपण के विभिन्न कार्यक्रम हैं उन्हें सुयोजित रूप से चलाया जा सके।
After the launch authorization, the vehicle will go to automatic launch sequence ALS program, and this will be initiated. Once this is initiated, all the activities, checkout of all the vehicle and satellite related activities will be taken care by the onboard computer system, which will look at the health, and then if any problem is there, automatically the launch will be stopped. But as we can see, all the parameters are in order and we are expecting a very good launch.
आज प्रक्षेपण स्तर पर आसमान में हल्के हल्के बादल छाए हुए हैं, जैसे ये भी हमारे और आपके साथ इन स्वर्णिम पलों के गवाह बनना चाहते हों। हमने प्रक्षेपण मुहिम के साथ ही लगातार मौसम और हवा की गति पर नजर रखी है, और आज जमीन पर हवा की गति भी खासी सामान्य थी, 6 मीटर प्रति घंटे लगभग 10 मीटर ऊंचाई पर एवं 10 मीटर प्रति घंटे 100 मीटर ऊंचाई पर।
Now we'll continue with the integration of the complete vehicle before the launch lifts off. Then we'll see the whole vehicle has been completed with the satellite and all that. And we'll go back to the little video clipping we have stopped in between to continue and see how the vehicle has been completely assembled. Shall we have the video clipping? Yes.
जी हाँ, तो आप ये देख पा रहे हैं कि किस तरीके से जब रॉकेट को पूरी तरह से असेंबल कर दिया गया था प्रक्षेपण यान को, उसके बाद उपग्रह को लाया गया और ये क्लीन रूम में उसे एक बार पुनः देख लिया जाता है। ये जो इल्यूमिनेशन चेक है सोलर पैनल के, उसको आप देख पा रहे हैं ताकि सभी सेल्स जो हैं सोलर सेल वो सुचारू रूप से काम कर रहे हैं कि नहीं। ये इस तरीके से एंटीना प्रस्तरण प्रणाली जो डिप्लॉयमेंट मैकेनिज्म है उसको आप देख पा रहे हैं। ये उसके सामने लगी हुई जर्मेनियम की शील्ड ऊष्मीय सुरक्षा के रूप में काम करती है। आप अपने उपग्रह के सामने चारों रिएक्शन कंट्रोल थ्रस्टर्स जो रिएक्शन कंट्रोल मैकेनिज्म है उसे देख पा रहे हैं। और इस तरीके से जब इसकी कार्यक्रम पूरी हो जाती है तो SP2 बिल्डिंग जो है वहां पे प्रणोदन को भरने का काम किया जाता है।
What you have seen just now is the moon orbiter spacecraft. It has gone through a large number of mechanism tests, deployment tests, solar panel, antenna deployment, all these things have taken place. And now it has to be mated with the satellite launch vehicle. It will be brought to the satellite launch vehicle in a assembly. It will be first assembled along with the payload adapter together, and it will come to the launch vehicle. And this integration has been done on few days ago on 19th October.
जी हाँ, इस तरह से उपग्रह को पूरी तरह से तैयार कर लेने के बाद उसे हम रॉकेट के साथ में प्रक्षेपण यान के साथ में जोड़ते हैं। और इस तरीके से आप देख पा रहे हैं पेलोड अडाप्टर जो नीचे लगा हुआ है उसमें उपग्रह को धीरे धीरे उसके करीब लाया जा रहा है ताकि इन उपग्रह के इंटरफेस रिंग को पेलोड अडाप्टर के साथ बड़े ही सावधानी पूर्वक जोड़ दिया जाए। और उसके बाद इस समाकलित असेंबली को हम एक बार फिर से रॉकेट के साथ जोड़ने का जो क्रम है उसे जारी रख पाते हैं।
Okay, this is all the scientists, senior colleagues here looking at the operations of the integration of the spacecraft with the payload adapter, and this combined assembly will go and mate with the launch vehicle.
यहाँ पे वरिष्ठ वैज्ञानिक लगातार उपग्रह की संरचना पे डिस्कशन करते हुए किस तरीके से ये कार्यक्रम जो है वो आबाद गति से चलते रहे ये भी आप देख पा रहे हैं। और अब धीरे धीरे उपग्रह को रॉकेट के साथ जोड़ने के लिए ऊपर ले जाया जा रहा है ताकि उसे उचित जगह पर फोर्थ स्टेज के ऊपर रख के जोड़ दिया जाए। और इसके बाद जो स्पेसक्राफ्ट फेयरिंग शील्ड है जो ऊष्मीय सुरक्षा कवच के रूप में भी काम करता है उसे समायोजित किया जाएगा।
So the payload adapter plus the satellite is being lifted for assembly with the launch vehicle.
ये धीरे धीरे उपग्रह को अडाप्टर के साथ में पेलोड अडाप्टर के साथ में चतुर्थ चरण की ओर बढ़ाया जा रहा है। और यहाँ पे वो टैंक दिख रहा है जो चतुर्थ चरण का है और ये धीरे से इसको नीचे उतारा गया। नीचे उतारने के साथ ही ये असेंबली बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होती है क्योंकि यहाँ पे प्रणोदन टैंक लगा होता है। और ये देखिए इस तरह से पूरी असेंबली रॉकेट और उपग्रह की तैयार हो गई।
So the spacecraft is assembled with the PS4 fourth stage. The shining thing was the tank of the PS4, and now this is the spacecraft, and the payload fairings are coming, which will two halves of the payload fairing. You can see the first half, the other half of also will come from the other side, and both of them will be protecting the spacecraft assembly. They will be there. The second half is coming, and this payload fairing, also known as heat shield, will be mated. And later, at higher altitude, once you finish 115 kilometers or so, the payload pairing will be separated, and the spacecraft will be exposed to space in the launch at high altitude. So here is the completed vehicle.
तो इस तरीके से जो पूरा का पूरा उपग्रह है और वो इस तरह से एनकम्पास कर दिया जाता है रॉकेट के अंदर। ऊष्मीय सुरक्षा कवच या फेयरिंग जिसको आप जानते हैं वो उसके चारों तरफ लगाने के बाद में जो मोबाइल सर्विस टावर है, इस मोबाइल सर्विस टावर को धीरे धीरे लॉन्च पैड से पीछे खिसका दिया जाएगा ताकि जो लॉन्च पैड पे उपग्रह है वो सीधा खड़ा रह के प्रक्षेपण के लिए तैयार हो सके।
So we have just now seen the ISRO logo on the moon orbiter satellite, and now this is the complete integrated vehicle, and near the being protected by the mobile service structure, and the mobile service structure will be leaving the vehicle at the launch pad and move out. It is slowly move out, and then what is moving is not the vehicle, this thing, the service structure is moving, a huge service structure, and it will go almost around once slowly, and very slowly the accelerations will be measured carefully, and it will go away, and the PSLV will stand there on the launch pad, the first launch pad of Sriharikota Satish
MC to
Dhawan
control,
Space Center,
SDS service
ready for the launch.
activated.
The
MC
majestic
confirms
PSLV
reception of
vehicle
SHAR
can be
1 and
seen
SHAR 2 data.
now, alone, ready for the launch.
और यही वो घड़ी है जहां पे मोबाइल सर्विस टावर को लगभग 160 मीटर की दूरी पर पीछे खिसका दिया गया है। इस समय इसकी जो वेलोसिटी होती है, जो वेग कमान होता है, लगभग 7 मीटर पर मिनट के हिसाब से इसे पीछे खिसकाया जाता है। और यहाँ पे आप महानुभावों को जिनको आप देख पा रहे हैं, नारायण स्वामी जी जो हमारे केंद्र में, हमारे इसरो के विभिन्न केंद्रों में कई बार आ चुके हैं, ये बड़ी मैजेस्टिकली खड़ा हुआ PSLV अपने उस क्षण का इंतजार करता हुआ जब वो पृथ्वी को छोड़ के हमारे लिए एक स्वर्णिम इतिहास रचने जाएगा।
We are just a few minutes away from the vehicle liftoff. Precisely 7 minutes 6 seconds. And you can see all the experts in the Mission Control Center and Launch Control Center closely monitoring the vehicle parameters.
हम लोग प्रक्षेपण से केवल 6 मिनट 53 सेकंड की दूरी पे आप देख पा रहे हैं अपने स्क्रीन पे इसरो के विभिन्न वैज्ञानिकों को, विभिन्न वरिष्ठ वैज्ञानिकों को, जिन्होंने अपना अमूल्य योगदान देके आज इसरो को इस स्तर तक पहुंचाया है।
After the initiation of the countdown was initiated around 56 hours ago, 3rd November morning at 6 hours, 8 minutes, 26 seconds. Many meticulously orchestrated activities have been completed to get the mission ready for launch up to this station. As per the countdown manual for PSLV C-25 Mars orbiter mission, a total of 803 specific activities to be successfully completed before liftoff. At this moment, a large number of them is over. Around more than 700 activities are over. The remaining activities will be completed in the next few minutes as per closely laid out procedure. T minus 5 minutes 54 seconds.
जी हाँ, ये अभी जैसा कि मैं आपको बता रहा था कि जो अभी कुछ समय पूर्व नापी गई वायु गति थी वो करीब 10 मीटर प्रति घंटा थी 100 मीटर की ऊंचाई पे। वैसे लगभग 15 मीटर प्रति घंटे की रफ्तार से किसी भी तरह का कोई खतरा नहीं होता है। वायुमंडल में पृथ्वी से कुछ ऊंचाई पर जो आज वायु गति नापी गई थी, उसे अगर आवश्यकता पड़ती है तभी उसको पुनः विकल्पित किया जाता है प्रक्षेपण यान के लिए, ताकि आरोहण के दौरान वायु गति की घर्षण भार को अल्पतम किया जा सके। मगर PSLV C-25 में इस तरह की किसी भी अभिकल्पना की आवश्यकता नहीं पड़ी है। सुबह के अवलोकनों के आधार पर वायुमंडलीय विद्युत क्षेत्र स्तर भी स्वीकार्य है, करीब 200 वोल्ट प्रति मीटर रहा है। प्रक्षेपण के लिए ये विद्युत क्षेत्र 1000 वोल्ट प्रति मीटर से कम होना चाहिए ताकि तड़ित की किसी भी संभावना को नकारा जा सके। इस समय हम करीब T0 minus 4 minutes 53 seconds दूर।
Today, at this hour of afternoon, from weather point of view, things are looking fine, portending a very fine, trouble-free launch. As some of you might have noted already, this is the first ever takeoff of a launch vehicle in the month of November from the Satish Dhawan Space Center, India Space Fort. Weather at this east coast of India during this month can be very tricky. You see the winds, a little bit of winds coming over there. It can be tricky, and the vicissitudes of atmospheric phenomena in November are always a cause of concern. At the critical launch liftoff to Mars, it is required that our weather and atmosphere should be appropriately watched and then critically follow the weather systems and the possibility of any adverse atmospheric developments. Our specialists have cleared from this point of view. Based on these assessments, we have gone ahead with today's launch. Indeed, the winds and weather and atmospheric conditions are very good today, and I'm expecting a very good launch today in 3 minutes 46 seconds.
सारे वैज्ञानिकों की निगाहें अपनी स्क्रीन पर अनेक आंकड़ों को बड़े ध्यान से देखते हुए बढ़ती हुई लेकिन निश्चित रूप से स्वीकार्य है जो गति है, और हमें इस समय इंतजार है उस घड़ी का जब जो प्रक्षेपण यान है वो हमारे मंगल ऑर्बिटर मिशन को लेके अंतरिक्ष की तरफ बढ़ेगा, उस लाल ग्रह की तरफ बढ़ेगा जिसमें सफलता के बाद हमारा देश विश्व में 6वें स्थान पर पहुंच जाएगा। यान के प्रमोशन में अब केवल 3 मिनट 9 सेकंड की दूरी, एक और स्वचालित प्रक्षेपण अनुक्रम सैकड़ों यान प्राचलों का निरीक्षण कर रहा है, तो दूसरी ओर अभियान तथा प्रक्षेपण नियंत्रण केंद्रों में अनेक विशेषज्ञ उड़ान संबंधित विभिन्न अवलोकित आंकड़ों का गहन अध्ययन करने में व्यस्त हैं। अभियान नियंत्रण केंद्र तथा प्रक्षेपण केंद्र में सभी विशेषज्ञ सभी प्राचलों का, सभी पैरामीटर्स का बड़ी सूक्ष्मता से निरीक्षण कर रहे हैं ताकि किसी भी स्थिति का मुकाबला किया जा सके, कोई भी आंकड़ों को सामान्य रूप से देखा जाए।
We are just 2 minutes 30 seconds from launch. Today we have sent 4 balloons at various few hours from now and collected the wind conditions up to 25 kilometers altitude. We have synthesized the wind and we have tuned the trajectory of this launch specific to this wind so that the aerodynamic loads and structural loads are less. This is called the day of the launch wind biasing. This being done, we have simulated the vehicle trajectory in the 6 degrees of freedom motion as well as flexible motions of these modes have been critically examined by simulations, and we find the loads that will be experienced by this vehicle will be well within the limits for which it is designed. With 1 minute 48 seconds, I'll leave you now to carefully watch what is happening and see the beautiful liftoff that is going to come. And after the liftoff, I'll come back to you.
इस समय प्रक्षेपण यान जो है वो पूरी तरह से तैयार अपनी यात्रा के लिए, अपनी ऐसी यात्रा के लिए जो भारतीय अंतरिक्ष विज्ञान के इतिहास में एक स्वर्णिम इतिहास रचने जा रहा है। PSLV के 3 संस्करण है, कोर संस्करण, 6 अतिरिक्त स्ट्रैप मोटर वाला स्टैंडर्ड संस्करण व एक्सेल संस्करण, जिसमें ये जो स्ट्रैप ऑन मोटर्स है उन्हें और ताकतवर बनाया जाता है। आपको याद दिला दूं कि PSLV C11 ने चंद्रयान 1 को, जो प्रथम भारतीय चंद्र अभियान था, 1380 किलोग्राम का, उसे छोड़ा था 22/10/2008 को। फिर PSLV C17 में GSAT-12 जो एक संचार समर्पित उपग्रह था 1410 किलोग्राम का, उसे छोड़ा था 15 जुलाई 2011 को। उसके बाद PSLV C19 जिसने आज तक के सबसे भारी प्रक्षेपित उपग्रह T2 जिससे IRNSS-1 है, प्रथम क्षेत्रीय नौ संचालन उपग्रह 1426 किलोग्राम भारी उपग्रह को 1 जुलाई 2013 को छोड़ा गया था। इस समय हम केवल 29 सेकंड की दूरी पर लॉन्च से, और हम इस समय आपको सीधे लिए चलते हैं रॉकेट के बहुत ही नजदीक, जहां से आप देख पाएंगे कि किस तरह से प्रक्षेपण अपनी तैयारियों पे।
15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, +1, 2, 3.
Liftoff.
Liftoff normal.
प्रक्षेपण सफलता।
R3 tracking.
Very fantastic, steady flight of the
P1 tracking.
liftoff. It is moving up. I can see the way it is going, how steadily it is going.
आप बड़ी आसानी से देख पा रहे होंगे 6 प्रक्षेपण स्ट्रैप ऑन मोटर्स के साथ प्रज्वलित होते हुए सीधे आकाश की ओर अपने प्रताप पर, और हम बाकायदा उसकी आवाज अपने कानों तक सुन पा रहे हैं।
Now,
the
sound, the acoustic levels of the vehicle going up with high speed is coming, and the whole mission control center is reverberating with the sounds that have emanated from the liftoff. We can see steadily the launch vehicle proceeding.
गड़गड़ाता हुआ PSLV C25 अपनी यात्रा पर निकल गया है, और इस समय सारा मिशन कंट्रोल सेंटर उसके पथ को देखते हुए, निहारते हुए कि कैसे अपनी लकीरों से लिखता हुआ इतिहास के अनेक शब्द जो कल हम याद करेंगे।
Fantastic motion. Already 25 kilometers altitude has been achieved. A velocity of 1.2 kilometer per second has been achieved. PSOMs, the strap-ons, groundlet strap-ons have been ignited, and PSOM groundlet have been separated. Airlit is assisting. The whole trajectory is going steadily. Very nice.
जो 6 स्ट्रैप ऑन लगे थे वो 4 स्ट्रैप ऑन हैं उन्हें जमीन पर ही प्रज्वलित कर दिया जाता है, जो बाकी 2 स्ट्रैप ऑन वो हवा में प्रज्वलित हो पाते हैं। और इस तरीके से आप देख पा रहे होंगे कि जो स्ट्रैप ऑन है वो 70 सेकंड्स के बाद सेपरेट हो गया है, विलगित हो गया है अपने प्रक्षेपण यान से, और जो PSLV ये दूसरे प्रक्षेपण जो स्ट्रैप-ऑन मोटर्स हैं उनका भी सेपरेशन सुनिश्चित कर दिया गया है।
Oh, PS1 separated after doing a very beautiful work, and then PS2 has been ignition, and the closed loop guidance. Earlier you have an open loop guidance, now the closed loop guidance on the onboard systems, which will see the current thing and which will take decisions on how it has to be oriented. The closed loop system has been initiated and everything going nicely. It has reached an altitude of 82 kilometers now, and a relative velocity of 2.3 kilometers per second have been achieved.
इस समय हम लगभग 150 सेकंड का समय व्यतीत कर चुके हैं उड़ान का, और इस समय जो गति है वो 2.4 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की प्राप्त की जा चुकी है। रेंज एक समय जो है 175 किलोमीटर का है, और ऊंचाई जो है वो करीब 94 किलोमीटर प्राप्त की जा चुकी है। अजीमुथ जो है 104.6 डिग्री प्राप्त किया जा चुका है। जो क्लोज्ड गाइड लूप सिस्टम है, क्लोज्ड लूप गाइड लूप सिस्टम वो इनिशिएट किया जा चुका है, उसका प्रारंभ हो चुका है। PSN1 की सफलता के बाद ये कुछ ऐसे महत्वपूर्ण कदम है जिन्हें हम बड़ी सावधानी से अपेक्षित करते हैं।
All the experts and scientists are watching the beautiful performance so far. First stage is very critical because it is going through the atmosphere, and the atmosphere loads are very, very important in managing the launch vehicle's progress into space, and that has been achieved. And now we are at an altitude of 140 kilometers. Next, I should see the heat shield separation. Yes, heat shield has been separated correctly at the right altitude at 201 seconds after liftoff, and everything is fine so far. Now,
second stage
the
performance
moon
normal.
orbiter satellite you have seen, heat shield has covered it. The heat shield has been separated. The whole satellite is now freely, openly exposed to space.
जी हाँ, इसमें उसमें सुरक्षा कवच जो है वो उपग्रह से अलग हो चुका है, और बाकायदा जो मून ऑर्बिटर मिशन था वो मून ऑर्बिटर मिशन सीधे सीधे वायुमंडल जो बहुत ही थिन होता है उसके संपर्क में आ जाता है, और एरोडायनेमिक हीटिंग उसकी बड़ी सावधानी पूर्वक गणना की जाती है। इस समय हम लगभग 245 सेकंड का समय व्यतीत करते हुए इस समय हमने 129 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त कर ली है, और जो गति है वो करीब 4.6 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की हो चुकी है। हम आपको बताते चलें कि इस समय सारी जो गतिविधियां बड़े सुचारू रूप से चल रही हैं, और हम बहुत ही क्लोज हैं तृतीय चरण के ignition के।
Third stage
now,
ignited.
The third stage has been ignited at 264 seconds at an altitude of almost 130 kilometers as planned. Everything as a dot. You can see on the plot board the velocity altitudes being plotted, and you can see the blink that is coming.
Third
Blink is the progress of the vehicle as it is going. The line that is there is already there. And how are we getting all this data online? The vehicle tracking stations are there and getting data from this, and we are projecting on the computer how the vehicle is progressing. There are the tracking stations at Shar, Port Blair, Brunei, Biak, and 2 shipborne terminals on board shipping corporations of India's 2 vessels. Nalanda and Yamuna are positioned at South Pacific Ocean. All these systems are collecting the data and telling us the progress of the vehicle today, which is going very nicely. All are fully ready, operational, and tracking and visibility from the stations provides the coverage of the launch vehicle and trajectory until the satellite separation and beyond. The short tracking station is covered up to 369 seconds, and then Port Blair will track from 220 seconds and 70 seconds to 1000 seconds, and then by long coast there can be little gaps. Therefore, we have put 2 ships, Nalanda, Yamuna, to provide us with the coverage of all these things. With the help of all this data that we are getting, the vehicle's progress is there, and the vehicle is progressing very well. PS4, PS3 is very nicely performing, and then it is going very nicely on dot from the predicted thing.
जी हाँ, PSLV C25 अपनी अपेक्षा के अनुरूप खरा उतरता हुआ इस समय करीब 350 सेकंड समय व्यतीत करके अपनी यात्रा पे आगे बढ़ता हुआ इस समय 7.3 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की जो गति है उसे प्राप्त की जा चुकी है। जैसा कि आदिमूर्ति जी बता रहे थे कि हमारे साथ इस समय अनेक केंद्र एक साथ भाग ले रहे हैं ताकि वहां से आंकड़ों को प्राप्त किया जा सके, और उन्हें आप ग्राफ पे लगातार देख रहे हैं। क्षैतिज अक्ष पे आप समय को और ऊर्ध्वाधर अक्ष पे आप रिलेटिव वेलोसिटी और रेंज या एल्टीट्यूड को देख पा रहे हैं। इस समय करीब 1462 किलोमीटर की दूरी पार की जा चुकी है।
I request all the viewers to stand by for an important announcement by the Range Operations Director about the progress. Range Operation Director will make an important announcement.
Now we have entered a long coasting phase of 28 minutes before the fourth stage ignites. We are monitoring the vehicle from Port Blair, Brunei and Biak ground stations. These stations will give data for the next 17 minutes.
जी हाँ, इस समय जैसा कि आपको रेंज ऑपरेशन डायरेक्टर ने बताया है कि हमें आंकड़े प्राप्त किए जा चुके हैं वहां से जो केंद्रित थे, और इस समय हमारा जो उपग्रह है वो और यान के साथ लगातार अपने पथ पे अग्रसर होता हुआ 470 सेकंड का समय व्यतीत कर चुका है.
The next important event will be the PS3, the third stage, having given all the required velocity. It is coasting along with the vehicle for some time. We have a very long coast. It is a specific requirement of the Mars orbiter mission because of the what is known as argument of perigee, which is very much big argument of perigee is required, and this trajectory is very, very unique to Mars orbiter mission. We have not made such a long coasting, 1,600 seconds of coasting without thrusting, such a specific trajectory, such a specially designed trajectory. Now the vehicle has gone to a range of almost 3,000 kilometers from the Shar center, precisely 2,863 kilometers. It has reached an altitude of 203 kilometers altitude, relative velocity of 7.277 kilometer per second, very near to the orbital velocity for a low Earth orbit, but we are giving much, much more velocity so that it will go to an apogee of 23,500 kilometers, and everything is going very, very nicely, and we are in the long coast, and after some time we will also give you a little video about various aspects of the Mars mission, about the Mars. We'll give you.
Coasting normal.
Mars lies beyond the Earth, and it is the fourth planet out from the Sun. Mars has a more elliptical orbit than the Earth's, so the distance between Earth and Mars varies at different times. When furthest away, Mars is 400 million kilometers distanced from Earth. But every 15 to 17 years, the distance between Earth and Mars shrinks to only 55 million kilometers. The Earth orbits the Sun once every 365 days, which is how we determine the length of a year. Mars takes almost 2 Earth years to go around the Sun. So, the length of a year on Mars is equal to about 687 days on Earth, or about 23 Earth months. In 1966, Italian astronomer Cassini detected faint white patches covering the poles of Mars. Later observations by German astronomer William Herschel confirmed that these were polar caps that grew and dwindled during the course of the Martian year, just like the ice caps on Earth. As you probably know, the axis of rotation of a planet is the line extending through the south and north poles. It was William Herschel who first measured the tilt of the rotation axis of Mars way back in the late 18th century. The tilt is 25.2 degrees, while the tilt of the rotation for Earth is 23.5 degrees. This tilted axis and lengthy Martian year makes season on Mars twice as long as on Earth. Due to its smaller mass, the gravitational pull on Mars is much less than what it is on Earth. If somebody weighs 70 kilograms on Earth, she or he would weigh only 27 kilograms on Mars. It was discovered that the rust-red color of the Martian surface is due to high concentration of iron oxide in its rocks and soil. Also, deep inside, Mars has a dense core of iron. An incredible canyon, a colossal gorge, stretches across nearly 1/4 of the Martian surface, the Valles Marineris. On Earth, it would stretch all the way from Kashmir to the southern coast of Sri Lanka. This is 6 times deeper than the Grand Canyon in Arizona.
जी हाँ, इस लघु फिल्म में आपने जो मंगलयान था, मंगल ग्रह था, उसके बारे में जानकारी प्राप्त की। तो जैसा मैं आपको बता रहा था कि अल्पतम प्रक्षेपण ऊर्जा के लिए जरूरी था कि जो आर्गुमेंट ऑफ पेरिजी है उसे बढ़ाया जा सके, और इसी कारण है जो उड़ान कार्यकाल सामान्यतः PSLV के लिए 1200 सेकंड होता है, वो यहाँ बढ़ा के 2657 सेकंड कर दिया गया है। इस संपूर्ण कार्यकाल में 1580 से 1800 सेकंड का लंबा निशक्ति समय या कोस्टिंग पीरियड भी शामिल कर दिया गया है। चतुर्थ चरण के प्रज्वलन के पूर्व का ये निशक्ति समय अब तक की सबसे दीर्घ अवधि होगी, जिसके लिए यान को विभिन्न परिस्थितियों के लिए तैयार करना एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण कदम था। कोस्टिंग फेज गाइडेंस एल्गोरिथम का सत्यापन, उड़ान के दौरान उपयोग में लाई जाने वाली बैटरी का संवर्धन करना, उड़ान के बढ़े हुए समय के लिए जड़त्वीय प्रणाली के निष्पादन का मूल्यांकन करना तथा 2 जल जहाज, जैसा कि आदिमूर्ति जी बता रहे थे, उसके आधारित दूरमिति व दूर संचार सुविधाएं जो उड़ान के अदृश्य क्षेत्र में आंकड़ों की प्राप्ति में सहायक सिद्ध होंगे। अति शीत के साथ यान के लंबे समय तक अनावरण होने के कारण चंद्र अपने पथ पर अग्रसर होता हुआ इस समय करीब 1000 सेकंड के नजदीक समय व्यतीत करता हुआ और 7.182 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की जो गति है उसे प्राप्त करके 5410 किलोमीटर के परास पर इस समय 281 किलोमीटर ऊंचाई प्राप्त कर चुका है।
So, my dear viewers, you can see the blink of the traveling spacecraft and the launch vehicle stages going on dot on the predetermined path. This is a very, very good launch. Just now it is 1000 seconds after the liftoff. The spacecraft, the system has reached 7.1 kilometer per second and a range of almost 5,650 kilometers. Altitude is almost at 287 seconds, and we are now in a very long coast.
Coasting normal.
This particular, as I already told, this particular mission design, which is required for the moon, from the Mars orbiter mission, especially Mars orbiter mission, requires 1,600 seconds or more of long coast between 3rd and 4th stage. This is primarily the mission requirement for optimally reaching the target conditions required for the Mars spacecraft can reach Mars with a stringent requirement of augmented perigee. And everything is going on as planned very well. And at the end of the course period, the force gets ignited at 2,100 seconds. There is still time for that. The stage will burn nominally around 500 seconds more, and the spacecraft will go to the required orbit of 200 kilometers, 250 kilometers altitude, perigee altitude, and 23,500 kilometers apogee altitude it will reach. And the inclination will be 19.2 degrees, and the perigee, augmented perigee, 282.55 degrees. We have to be very, very accurate, and we are targeting the vehicle very accurately for injection into the Mars in the times to come. And we are waiting for the long course to progress until we come to a time of the 4th stage ignition, where the essential velocity for going into the apogee altitude, required apogee altitude, will be given.
Coasting normal.
And now, after some time, we would like to give you a brief video about the launch vehicle, about particularly the spacecraft, the important scientific objectives of the spacecraft, and the scientific instruments that are there on the spacecraft to achieve these objectives. We'll show a little later. But I would like to tell there are great number of challenges for the Mars orbiter mission. And some of the main components of these challenges are very critical orbital maneuvers of transfer of the spacecraft from Earth-bound orbits into heliocentric around the sun and reaching the Mars orbit accurately and capturing in the Mars orbit, and various required systems development, the models for simulation, algorithms for orbit and altitude computations and their analysis and their achieving them accurately, deep space communication and navigation, and because the distances can be very, very long when you reach the Mars, that light itself travels. It can take around 20 minutes to reach the Mars. Light itself can take that much time, and if you want to communicate from Earth what to do and tell the spacecraft, it can take to and fro, can take 40 minutes of light travel, electromagnetic electromagnetic radiation to travel that much.
Nalanda ship, we will have a data break. We will display the computed extrapolated vehicle trajectory during this period.
There was just now a very important announcement projected on the screen now. This is not the direct, what you are seeing now in the screen is not the direct measurement, but a mathematical computation that is there until again we pick up the vehicle's tracking system directly tracks the vehicle that is going.
जी हाँ, जो आप अभी इस समय आंकड़े देख पा रहे हैं अपने स्क्रीन पे, ये बेसिकली अनुमानित आंकड़े हैं, क्योंकि जो नालंदा और यमुना जो दो जल जहाज हैं जो इस समय हमारे लिए ग्राउंड ट्रैकिंग स्टेशन का काम कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो आंकड़े हैं, जो दृश्य है वो इस समय हमारी उपग्रह जो यान है वो हमसे दूर जा चुका है और हमारी दृष्टि के परास से बाहर है। ऐसी स्थिति में अगर उससे आंकड़े प्राप्त करना है तो उसमें समय लगता है, इसलिए इस समय जो आप ब्लिंक करता हुआ कर्सर आगे बढ़ता देख पा रहे हैं ये अनुमानित आंकड़े हैं जो उसके साथ में ग्राफ के अवलोकित आंकड़ों के साथ चलते हैं। इस समय हम करीब 1303 सेकंड का समय व्यतीत करते हुए 7.127 7.127 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की जो गति है उसे प्राप्त कर चुके हैं। हम करीब 7,718 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर 324 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त कर चुके हैं। दरअसल इस अभियान का जो मुख्य उद्देश्य है वो एक ऐसे उपग्रह का निर्माण है जो पृथ्वी आधारित युक्त चालन, मंगल की कक्षा में स्थानांतरण, मंगल की अंतरण कक्षा में युक्त चालन को सफलतापूर्वक निष्पादित कर सके।
Now the trajectory is going very nicely. I can see the altitude little higher than what is expected. Sometimes little over performances can be there. And now we would like to bring to you a video on the Mars orbiter mission, as I have already told you, and which will tell you about the Mars. And shall we have the video, please?
Mars. No other planet captures the human imagination as Mars does. The reason is the striking similarity between Earth and Mars in many respects. Compared to the extremely hostile conditions on other planets, Mars, with its familiar surface features like hills, valleys, highlands, and plains, polar ice caps, its relatively benign surface temperatures, and its day, which is a little longer than an Earth day, has made humans gaze at it with curiosity and excitement. For centuries, humans have observed Mars as a red dot in the night sky, moving slowly against a background of fixed stars. Because of its red color, ancient Romans named the planet Mars after their god of war. People of ancient India named it Mangala, and the same name has remained in many Indian languages today. It is also known as son of Prithvi, Mother Earth. Systematic telescopic observation of Mars began in the early 17th century with Galileo Galilei's observation, which resulted in the discovery of many interesting things and optical illusions associated with the observations, giving rise to certain misconceptions. Prominent amongst them was the belief that Mars was the abode of intelligent life capable of building gigantic canals. This firm notion in the human psyche led to dozens of robotic spacecraft, including the Mariner 9, the Viking, and the Mars Express being sent to explore the planet after the dawn of the space age. However, not one of these robotic investigators has revealed the existence of even microorganisms on Mars, let alone intelligent creatures with superhuman capabilities, and rovers on its surface. Special alloys and composite materials have been used to build the skeletal structure of the spacecraft. Its inside temperature will be kept within safe operating limits using a host of materials, including a bright golden-colored multi-layer insulation blanket. The 3 solar panels projecting from one of its sides of the Mars Orbiter mission spacecraft generate about 800 watts of electric power near Mars. The 2.2-meter diameter dish-shaped antenna projecting from the other side of the spacecraft facilitates the spacecraft's radio communication with the Earth.
समायोजित किया गया और किस तरीके से इसकी संकल्पना और अभिकल्पना की गई। दरअसल अगर इस अभियान का मुख्य उद्देश्य देखें तो इसके लिए तकनीकी का विकास, अभिकल्पना, प्रबंधन, सुदूर अंतरिक्ष संचार और अंतर्ग्रही कर क्रियान्वयन पर सभी का अपना विशेष महत्व है। इसके साथ ही ज्यादातर कोशिश की गई है कि किसी भी आपात स्थिति से निपटने के लिए स्वचालित प्रणाली की दिशा में किया गया विकास सफलतापूर्वक क्रियान्वयन किया जा सके। इसमें 5 प्रदाय भार या नीत भारों का समावेश किया गया है। वे हैं लैप, लाइमन अल्फा फोटोमीटर, MSM मीथेन सेंसर्स फॉर मार्स, मेनका मार्शियन एक्सोस्फेरिक न्यूट्रल कंपोजिट एक्सप्लोरर। एक्चुअली इसका सिमिलर जो एक प्रदाय भार था वो चंद्रयान 1 में चेस के नाम पे मून इम्पैक्ट प्रोब पे लगाया गया था। इसी तरीके से चौथा प्रदाय भार जो इसमें लगा है वो है MCC मार्स कलर कैमरा और 5वां प्रदाय भार TIR इमेजिंग स्पेक्ट्रोमीटर है। दरअसल इन प्रदाय भारों का मुख्य उद्देश्य मंगल ग्रह के आसपास के बाहरी वातावरण, सतही रूपरेखा, आकृति विज्ञान और खनिजिकी के विषय में अध्ययन है। मंगल पर पहुंचने के लिए पृथ्वी के चारों ओर द्रव मोटर या लिक्विड इंजन द्वारा 5 या 6 प्रज्वलन किए जाएंगे जो बिल्कुल चंद्रयान की तर्ज पर दीर्घवृत्तीय कक्षा के उपभू बिंदु या पेरिजी पॉइंट पर होंगे। इस कक्षीय उत्थान योजना के पश्चात उपग्रह में ट्रांस मार्स इंजेक्शन मैन्यूवर किया जाएगा जिससे मार्स ऑर्बिटर मिशन को 30 नवंबर 2013 को मार्स ट्रांसफर ट्रेजेक्टरी में स्थानांतरित कर दिया जाएगा। समय की ये गणना कुछ इस तरह से की गई है कि उपग्रह को मंगल तक पहुंचने में अल्पतम ईंधन की खपत होगी।
Okay, we are looking at the ground trace of the PSLV C25. Everything is going on fine. At this moment, at almost 1800 seconds after liftoff, it has a relative velocity of 7.1. Steadily it is going. It has traveled a range of 11,000 kilometers from Shar at an altitude of 328 kilometers. Altitude, as I can see, is a little more than the nominal, but the onboard guidance system will take care of it in appropriately dealing with the final stage initiation, ignition. The next major event that is going to come in about 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes time is the ignition of the final PS4 stage, and that is the stage that will give the appropriate velocity to keep it in the correct orbit and correct augment of perigee. The onboard closed loop guidance system with the help of the navigation system that is there and getting the data, actual data that are there has been there.
Display of computed trajectory is stopped. We are expecting the 4th stage to ignite at
Plus 31 minutes.
2099.44 seconds. And we are waiting for Nalanda ship for confirmation.
Okay. There is very important announcement that Range Operations Director has just now made about the progress of when the PS4 ignition will take place based on the Nalanda ship's information that are there, and the confirmations of the 4-stage ignition by the Nalanda ship is expected. To see the separation of the PS4 and ignition of the spacecraft into this thing. The ships are there helping us to see this thing, and the Range Operation Director has confirmed that we will get this information from the ship, and everything is progressing well. And therefore, you can see that this unique historic Mars orbiter mission is progressing very well, and the most
Plus
critical
32
operation
minutes.
of the 4th stage ignition and placement into the orbit are awaited now. So far it has done very well. All the separation events, all the thrusting events, all the velocities, all the trajectories, and getting the altitudes and velocities, distances have taken place correctly. But people are waiting carefully and looking at the data that are coming in the Mission Control Center to see the progress of the most critical event. The final imparting of the velocity to keep into the orbit by the PS4, 4th stage of PSLV, is the awaited thing, and we are getting this confirmation and information from the shipborne terminals that we have placed in the South Pacific.
जी हाँ, तो अभी तक करीब 1900 सेकंड का समय व्यतीत हो चुका है। दोनों जहाजों से जो जानकारी प्राप्त होनी है उसके प्राप्त होने के बाद आंकड़ों को अपडेट किया जाता है, और इस समय हाँ, ये आंकड़े अभी प्राप्त किए जा चुके हैं सफलतापूर्वक, और इस समय 1978 सेकंड का समय व्यतीत होते हुए इस समय 7.14 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की गति प्राप्त की जा चुकी है, और हम करीब 12,270 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर इस समय श्रीहरिकोटा से हैं। आपको बताते चलें कि इस समय जो PS4 जो है चतुर्थ चरण, उसके 2100 सेकंड में जब उसका प्रज्वलन होना है, उससे हम केवल 100 सेकंड की दूरी पर, और ये चरण बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होता है, बहुत मायने रखता है कि हमारे PSLV की सफलता के लिए। इस समय जो सारे वैज्ञानिक हैं वो बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण आंकड़े देखते हुए, ताकि उन पे नज़र रखी जा सके और किस तरह से उनके परिवर्तन की दर में किस तरह से अवलोकन हो रहा है, इसको भी प्राप्त किया जा सके। रेंज ऑपरेशन डायरेक्टर जो हैं पनीर सेल्वन जी, वो लगातार निगाह रखे हुए हैं जो आंकड़े हमें जल जहाज से प्राप्त हो रहे हैं।
Okay, we see that both shipborne terminals, Nalanda ship and Yamunat ship, both are working perfectly and supporting the long coast operations and the progress of the launch vehicle as planned very well. Everything is going on perfectly, and we are waiting for the PS4 ignition in a few minutes time. And as you can see, as we are progressing into this very exciting finish for this great historic mission, many activities and many calculations have been done, which I have not talked to you about. There are thousands and thousands of various activities and calculations, but one of them I want to highlight to you because of the large number of space operations that have taken place. As you can see, the upper space atmosphere has become full of space debris, and then when we launch an important satellite, investing so much of money for various scientific and other purposes, we do this thing, we should see that there is no untoward collision, untoward effect of the
Four-stage ignition confirmed.
PS4 engine has started. That's the great news. At 2,100 seconds, PS4 engine has started.
जी हाँ, यही PS4 इंजन के स्टार इसका प्रज्वलन हो गया है, और ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होता है हमारे प्रक्षेपण यान के लिए, क्योंकि इसके बाद आप देख सकते हैं कि सभी गतियां सुचारू रूप से चल रही हैं। हमें अनुमान था कि किस तरह से आंकड़ों में जो थोड़ी देर के लिए हमें अदृश्य होना संभावित था, इसीलिए उन 2 जल जहाजों का नालंदा का समय और व्यतीत करना है उड़ान में, और चतुर्थ चरण जो है बड़े सामान्य ढंग से काम करता हुआ।
Slowly and steadily the PS4 is doing the task, and I see the velocity increasing as planned, and the vehicle progressing, and range is 13,600 seconds, and with the PSLV working nicely and the PSLV working normal, there certainly I can see we are very close to our intended mission objectives for today's launch of keeping the Mars orbiter mission in the required orbit. We will see in few minutes time that it has been achieved. But as we see and wait for the progress of the PSLV burning, and all the scientists and the senior managers here are carefully watching the progress in the Mission Control Center. And
fourth stage performance normal.
Fourth stage performance is normal. It has been announced looking at the progress so far, and certainly this is the last final propulsive stage before we keep it in the orbit, and I expect a very good orbit to be achieved using the closed loop guidance, and I'm expecting a very accurate orbit as intended. Inclination should be appropriate. The perigee should be appropriate. Apogee should be appropriate. The argument of perigee should be appropriate. All these things will be achieved. We'll wait and see. But I would like to talk about many of the calculations that are there. That is, one is the space object proximity analysis, space debris. I was telling you about that. And because of the large number of space activities that is there, now the upper space atmosphere has large thousands and thousands of unused space debris elements that are there. And therefore, whenever we make a launch from Sriharikota, we make a detailed analysis of our launch vehicle trajectory and the trajectories of all the thousands of space debris pieces who are catalogued, and see that there is no untoward possibility of any collision, so that the critical mission will be spoiled. Yes, earlier such things have happened in the space history, and therefore it should not happen to us.
Normal.
We are doing that, and all the analysis that has been done has shown that there is no problem of the space debris, and if there were some problem, we would have slightly delayed the launch vehicle liftoff by a few minutes. But we do not have much choice today. The launch window is only limited to 5 minutes. Within that only we can change the time, and if there is a problem of space debris, we have done it, but there was no problem. The liftoff has taken place at the right time, and everything is progressing very well, and I do not expect any problem with space debris.
जी हाँ, चतुर्थ चरण जो है वो पूरी तरह से सामान्य तरह से काम करता हुआ 2340 सेकंड का उड़ान समय व्यतीत करता हुआ कितना गर्व महसूस होता है तब इन ग्राफ को देख के, जब अनुमानित और अवलोकित पथ बिल्कुल एक दूसरे को कोइंसाइड कर जाते हैं, और ये आप बाकायदा अपने स्क्रीन पर देख पा रहे हैं। जो इसरो उपग्रह केंद्र ने निर्मित किया है वो जब इससे अलग होगा प्रक्षेपण यान से, इसके बाद मार्स का पथ जो है अति परवलय या हाइपरबोलिक के द्वारा पृथ्वी के प्रभावकारी क्षेत्र या स्फीयर ऑफ इंसुलेंस से बाहर चला जाएगा। मार्स ऑर्बिटर मिशन के लिए लंबे अति परवलयीय पथ पर एक ऐसा बिंदु आता है जो मंगल ग्रह के प्रभाव क्षेत्र के बाहर अंदर होता है। इसे मार्स ऑर्बिटल इंसर्शन कहते हैं, और इसी बिंदु पर भू आदेश के द्वारा कक्षा की दिशा में परिवर्तन कर उसे मंगल की दीर्घवृत्तीय कक्षा में पहुंचा दिया जाएगा। यान से पृथक होने के पश्चात मार्स ऑर्बिटर मिशन को लगभग 69 करोड़ किलोमीटर की दूरी तय कर मंगल की 366 बाई 80,000 किलोमीटर की दीर्घवृत्तीय कक्षा पहुंचने में लगभग 300 दिन का समय लगेगा। अगर हम चांद और मंगल पर पहुंचने का तुलनात्मक अध्ययन करें तो पाएंगे कि योजना और रणनीति लगभग एक जैसी है, पर मंगल की चुनौतियां प्रणोदन, नौ संचालन और संचार की दृष्टि से बेहद जटिल और कठिन है। चंद्रमा की लूनर ट्रांसफर ट्रेजेक्टरी में 5 से 5 दिन लगे थे, और मंगल के लिए ये करीब 300 दिन होता है। अगर हम मंगल ग्रह के विश्व अभियानों की बात करें तो इसकी सफलता दर मात्र 42% थी। कई अभियान आरंभिक दौर में, कई यात्रा के दौरान, कई गंतव्य तक पहुंचने से पहले नष्ट हो गए थे। कई अभियानों ने अपना कार्यकाल तक पूरा नहीं किया। ये सारी असफलता अभियान की जटिलता और अंतर्ग्रही अभियानों में प्रयुक्त अनेक प्राचलों की ओर इशारा करते थे।
My dear spectators and watchers of this historic moment of Mars orbiter mission satellite insertion, I am very delighted that the vehicle is progressing very well. The mission is progressing very well. We are already in an orbit. The perigee at this moment is 244 kilometers and the apogee is 8,931 kilometers. Only task is to give additional velocity until the apogee altitude will be 23,500 kilometers.
Real-time data
I don't
is
see anything that will come in the way of this thing. As we are coming to the conclusion of this very historic moment of launching the Mars orbiter spacecraft. And now I look into the scientific objectives that are going to achieve in the Mars orbit once we reach there. And the journey to Mars is very, very long. It will take almost 10 months, almost 300 days to reach the Mars. And the critical operation there is to capture into Mars orbit. And then we do a large number of scientific experiments. And the scientific experiments are, I would like to tell you about the scientific objectives that we have at this moment. This is the right time to think about them. We want to do the exploration of Martian surface by studying its features, morphology, topography, mineralogy, and Martian atmosphere constituents, such as study and dynamics of upper atmosphere of Mars, effects of solar wind, radiation, and escape volatiles in space. These are the scientific aspects that are there. Many missions to Mars have taken place, but still there is a lot to know and lot to understand and lot to discover about Mars. Particularly, we would like to know about any possibility of methane that has been generated by biogenic processes. And there are 5 scientific payloads on our Mars orbiter mission, which will do various scientific investigations on the way to the Mars. And once we are in the Mars orbit, and I would like to say that we have Lyman alpha photometer instrument. We have Mars color camera for taking various pictures, and then the Lyman alpha photometer will measures the relative abundance of deuterium and hydrogen. This ratio, D by H ratio, it will measure. It will make us understand the loss process of water in the planet. We have methane sensor for Mars, MSM.
PS4 thrust cutoff, injection conditions achieved.
16.4 सेकंड के बाद, और इस समय हम 2626 सेकंड का समय व्यतीत कर चुके हैं। ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है ये वर्ष, ये समय मंगलयान को जो मार्स ऑर्बिटर मिशन है उसे प्रक्षेपित करने का।
Oh, as I am describing to you the scientific objectives, we have achieved the technological objective of keeping into the orbit of 249.
हम इस मौके को किसी भी कीमत पर खोना नहीं चाहते थे। इतना ही नहीं, हमारे वैज्ञानिकों द्वारा किए गए शोध दर्शाते हैं कि 2016 का प्रक्षेपण इतना ईंधन सुलभ न हो पाता और उसे PSLV एक्सिस से शायद प्रक्षेपित करना भी मुश्किल होता है। ये घड़ी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण। हम आप सभी दर्शकों को बहुत बहुत बधाई देते हुए बहुत आइए हम MCC के उसके घटनाक्रम की ओर ले चलें, जहां पे आप सीधे हमारे चेयरमैन को आपको बधाई देते हुए देख पाएंगे।
Please stand by for important messages from the chairman of Indian Space Research Organization. Thank you very much for participating in this very historic moment along with us.
इस सारे प्रसारण तक आप हमारे साथ बने रहे, इसके लिए हम आपके आभारी हैं। आप कुछ देर प्रतीक्षा कीजिए और इस समय हमारे जो इसरो के चेयरमैन हैं वो इस समय एड्रेस करेंगे।
I am extremely happy to announce that the PSLV C-25 vehicle has placed the Mars orbiter spacecraft very precisely into an elliptical orbit around Earth. This is the 25th flight of our PSLV, and it has been
primary deployment over.
It has been a new and complex mission design to ensure that we would be able to move the Mars orbiter spacecraft from the orbit of Earth to the orbit of Mars with minimum energy. I want to salute the entire ISRO community who made this possible in a very limited time. Let me introduce to you the captains of this team. We have Mr. Ramakrishnan, Director of Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, the lead center for launch vehicle development. I would request him to say a few words.
Thank you. It was a historic mission. PSLV has once again proven its mettle that it can perform any kind of mission. In fact, PSLV symbolizes India's assured access to space. This mission, though it's like any other launch mission, it had certain specific requirements which are to be met, and the meticulous planning and the analysis made it possible. This mission is again a textbook mission, as you are going to see, perfect mission. And this is only the first step. As we know, for this Mars mission, this is the first step, but this is the most important, and you know, this involves the maximum energy. To get into orbit from Earth, what we spend, the maximum energy, and from here to go to Mars, we are going to spend less than a fraction of a percentage. And definitely crossing this major first milestone is extremely important to us. I congratulate and compliment the entire ISRO team which has made this possible. With the teamwork and the kind of dedication what we have today, any mission is not beyond our capability. Thank you very much.
Dr. M.Y.S. Prasad is director of this Spaceport of India, and he has been the chairman of the Launch Authorization Board.
It's an excellent mission with the teamwork of all the centers and units of ISRO, and very complicated mission design. And I congratulate all of you for achieving the first important step in the long mission. And getting into the Earth orbit of the Mars orbiter mission is the first important step in the long mission. And last 3 months, we have seen convergence of all the activities of all the ISRO centers and units at Sriharikota SHAR Center. And I congratulate each one of you for successfully achieving this part of this long mission. Thank you very much.
Mr. Dattan was director of this center. Now he has taken up a very important responsibility of developing the cryogenic engine and stage for India's launch vehicle program. And for this mission, he has given the second stage and fourth stage.
We share these happy moments along with the nation in achieving successfully the first phase of Mars orbiter mission. I take this opportunity to congratulate and acknowledge the wholehearted effort put forth by the whole ISRO team, especially my beloved team at LPSC in all the 3 units. Total dedication they have contributed, and they deserve a special applause. I also assure the nation that we will be working in the same spirit and effort with the full efficiency for realizing our future goals, like the GSLV D5, which is due for the next month, and the Mars 3 X mission and all other PSLV missions. I also acknowledge the service and supports we obtained from the many industries from the nation and the wholehearted encouragement from the media. Thank you all.
Mission Director, Mr. Kunjikishan, has been the key person for this whole mission. I request him to say a few words.
Good evening, all of you. With the precise injection of Mars orbiter spacecraft into the desired initial orbit, which is crucial for its further long journey to Mars, the 25th Silver Jubilee mission of PSLV will be written in golden letters in the space history of India. The orbit achieved as captured by our shipborne terminal is 246.9 kilometer perigee against 250 kilometer, and 23,566 kilometer apogee as against 23,500, and similarly the largest argument of perigee. We had the longest PSLV mission compared to our earlier missions. This is more than double the flight, total flight duration. Apart from major data we are going to derive in terms of scientific and technological area, capturing and igniting the young minds of India and across the globe will be the major return from this mission. At this juncture, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you, specifically Chairman ISRO and all the senior members of ISRO, my mission executives, the system development agencies of various centers of ISRO, and the industries for their immense contribution towards this grand and glorious mission. Thank you all.
The ISRO Satellite Center is the lead center for satellite development. And during July, August, September, they could put 3 satellites into geosynchronous geostationary orbits. We have with us Mr. Shivakumar, Director of ISRO Satellite Center, that took the responsibility and challenge for realizing the Mars orbiter spacecraft in a record time.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to all of you. At this juncture, what all I want, a bit of it in the last 40 minutes, 43 minutes to be more precise. And once we achieved this excellent separation, followed by primary deployment and secondary deployment of solar panels, we really have made the mission. Thanks to all of you. We have commenced the mission as far as this Mars mission is concerned. We have a long way to go, as you know, by time and also by the distance. So we'll cover this systematically and see that we really do this job, whatever that has been left behind with the launch vehicle, which has done that. Similar thing we have to do for the satellite, and we'll do it on 30th of November as of today, and we should be on our way to Mars as we go along. 24th of September 2014 is the date for which we should be able to really say that we have reached the Mars, or into the Mars orbit, and the orbit will be as required. Thanks to everybody. My team at ISRO Satellite Center has really worked very hard, I should say. Each one of you has really done very well for us to really say that whatever that required has been done. And most of the new achievements also were there for us. Everything has been done correctly. We'll put to test as we go along and see that we really achieve the mission as we really want it. So thanks to all of you. Very good luck to our PSLV team, and also we would like to do similar thing for GSLV team as we come along, because our satellite is ready for launch sometime in December. Thank you very much.
Mr. Kiran Kumar, Director of Space Application Center and Vice Chairman of ISRO Council. He has been the Chairman of the Spacecraft Authorization Board, and he also led development of those novel sensors for detecting the presence of methane, as well as for thermal infrared sensing to understand the origin of that methane.
Good evening, and at the outset, my heartiest congratulations to the entire launch vehicle team, which has put our baby into space. Like, it's almost like a cesarean. The baby is put inside the heat shield, and then when it is launched, the heat shield is split open, and now the baby is up in the space. Now it is our job to make sure that this baby grows and delivers what it is meant for in the Mars, looking for scientific objectives. And we have a long way to go, as Shivakumar has already told. So now from the launch vehicle, we are in the hands of the spacecraft team now, which has to ensure that the spacecraft is going to remain functional and deliver the baby in the Mars orbit. And once again, I take this opportunity to congratulate the entire team for this tremendous job that has been achieved. First step has been successfully done. We are looking forward to the remaining. Thank you.
Mr. Ironen took up the responsibility to develop and build the Mars orbiter spacecraft.
Good evening. And I'm very happy to note that our Mars orbiter spacecraft has separated in the intended orbit with the precise orbit parameters of perigee and apogee and argument of perigee. And the primary and secondary solar panel deployment, which are crucial events, has also happened in the stipulated time. And I take this opportunity to thank Chairman ISRO, who was the motivating force behind us, and all the centers and units and the industries and my project team for the excellent contribution for realizing the spacecraft in time. Our journey to Mars has begun now. Thank you.
Several of our colleagues are there at Bangalore now. Mr. Annadurai, the program director, Mr. Keshavaraju, the mission director for the post-launch phase. And I take this opportunity to thank the entire team who are present at the moment at Bangalore. ISRO is what it is today. How it is functioning is because the people who led that organization from the day one. And we are very fortunate that today we have some of them with us. Professor U.R. Rao started the Aryabhatta satellite program. And when we completed the feasibility study of Mars spacecraft, he started working with us as a young engineer and scientist. So I would like to introduce him to you and request him to say a few words.
First, let me congratulate each and every one of the Space Department at different space centers for this wonderful work. This is indeed a great day for not only Space Department, for India. For the first time, at least something we have sent has got out of our own cradle. And this is the first time we have, I think we can proudly say that India has become mature. And in fact, when we went through those two ships, particularly Nalanda, it practically gave me a heart attack. But we are used to this. Therefore, I think that's one of the reasons why we don't have any problem of heart attack in the department. And of course, now the long journey has started, and we have excellent experiments, thanks to all the centers which have produced these experiments. And I hope that we'll get very good results. I just want to say something came from US yesterday, a comment from some friends of mine saying that I don't understand why Indians are shouting about the 500 crores or 450 crores spent on this. It's certainly the biggest day for the whole of India, which India can be proud of. And these Indians have no difficulty in spending 10 times that, 5,000 crores, in Diwali crackers in one day, which don't get up more than 10 feet. But for going all the way to Mars, at 1/10 the cost, why are they shouting? I thought it was a very nice statement to make. And I'm glad and we have done it. Particularly, I really congratulate all the people and the department and of course the government for having encouraged this. Thank you very
much. I want to convey that the Honorable Prime Minister, who announced this mission on August 15, 2012, just now called me up to convey to the entire team and congratulations from his side. And we are grateful to him for the encouragement, for the support that he has been giving even during our times of difficulties. Thank you very much, sir. And the ISRO team will fulfill the expectations that the nation has in them. We have with us Dr. Kasturi Rangan. In fact, he started the turning point in ISRO, starting with the first lunar mission program in the year 2000. And we have Dr. Kasturi Rangan with us, and I would request him to say a few words.
What to say at this moment, dear Radhakrishnan and all my ISRO friends. We had a lot of exciting moments in ISRO, but this is an incredible exciting moment. And you have pulled it off in a very beautiful and professional manner. I've been just watching it, hearing it, and often being briefed by Radhakrishnan on the various facets of this Martian program. I think the most thing is, first of all, the mission itself is extremely challenging and demanding the best out of each one of you. Secondly, you have been given just 15 months to take this mission to the first level of fruition. And I think this is something which is unbelievable, because 15 months for a space program of this complexity to be achieved at the level at which today you demonstrated it, I think is something which we can all be proud of. And in the process, as one of my colleagues said, you have started writing the history of Indian space program, which ultimately will turn out to be a significant chapter when it completes this 300-day odyssey. So we are here to wish you the very best for the 300 days, but having seen these moments of excitement and achievement, I have no doubt that rest of the mission will go successfully. The success will be to all your credit, and for your excellent leadership, we wish you the very best.
We are fortunate that one of the founding fathers of ISRO, Professor Yashpal, is here with us. In fact, he started the entire space application program. That is the unique point of the Indian space program. I request him to say a few words.
I have had the wonderful opportunity of visiting you several times during the year. I don't know why you call me every time, but it's such a pleasure. And I now beginning to feel that every time I come, something nice happens. So maybe I must be good for you. Now what you guys have done so far in regard to this mission, it's so fantastic. I don't know anything like this which has been done earlier, here or anywhere else in the world. I think there's a whole lot which is going here. Thrift, taking your own path, not following anybody, not trying to get into a silly competition mode, but trying to do something very special. Making best use of the capabilities you have, whether it's the launch vehicle, whether the control and guidance, or the communication systems. अरे शिप लेके फिजी भेज रहे हैं, मैं फिजी गया था एक बार, ये कमाल का मुल्क है ये, it's been amazing, but there is more to it. I think ISRO is a very, very special gift to the nation. Not only to the nation, but I think in some sense to humanity. The kind of thoughts which have been thought right from the beginning by the initiators of our program, and which continue to be taught even now, are special. I don't find them anywhere else, not even in space programs of the world. Now, if I look at this in that particular way, what you have been trying to do today, just sit back and think what you're trying to do. You're trying to somehow or the other go across continents, which probably happened maybe years ago, a different way. I don't know whether humans came from Africa and how they came. But this is of a different nature altogether. It might happen. Not only across continents, but across planets. Now this, we don't know whether there's life in the other planets. We might find it. Maybe then we'll have more trouble. Probably not. Probably we'll also learn to live better. Probably a new ethics will dawn on this planet. Your work is very much connected with ethics, with values, and how humans ought to live. And this particular program had that quality also. अरे कहीं दूसरे planet से बात कराना शुरू करो, यार कमाल हो जाएगा। बताएगा नहीं? ताली बजाई ना?
You have worked, and let me once again congratulate you on behalf of the Prime Minister and all of us. There will be a great deal of interest with which we will be following the future phases of this project, and I think the future success will depend on the excellence of the team which has helped set up this launch and which will now monitor and control the project. It will also depend on the prayers and goodwill and good wishes of all of us in India and abroad who will follow this project. So thank you all very much, and let me wish you all the very best. Thank you.
I request our beloved Honorable Minister, Mr. Narayanaswamy, to say a few words. He has been closely working with the entire ISRO team since December 2010.
Congratulations for Dr. Radhakrishnan, Chairman of ISRO, and also our scientists. You all worked as a team, and it is a joyous moment for all of us. The world was expecting that what is going to happen. Will India succeed? You have proved it, the scientists have proved it. I wholeheartedly congratulate all the scientists for the successful Mars mission. In fact, the Honorable Prime Minister and also EPA Chairperson, Madam Sonia Gandhi, gave us the strength and the support for the ISRO and also our space program. We have been successful throughout. This is my 6th visit. All the six successive launches you have done during the last 1.5 years, 2 years. I am very proud of you. The journey is to continue, because India is the 4th country in the world. USA, Russia, then thereafter European Union. Now, India is the 4th country which is going to reach the level of the international, the fame in the space technology. This is possible because of your efforts, and you have been working very hard for the purpose of achieving the goal which you have envisaged, and also bringing pride for our country. And you have to go a long way. Your teamwork has to continue. You have to give more results. The government is with you. The Honorable Prime Minister is with you. We are all with you for the purpose of achieving the accomplishments. I congratulate all of you once again for the successful launch of the Mars mission. Thank you very much.
The journey has only begun. The challenging phase is coming. In the next 10 days, we would be raising the apogee of the Mars orbiter spacecraft around Earth to nearly 2 lakh kilometers. And in the early hours of 1st December 2013, that great, long, difficult voyage would start. And then in September 2014, we expect this spacecraft to be around Mars, and the challenge then is to precisely reduce the velocity and get into an orbit. And once that is achieved, we have 5 beautiful scientific instruments, and we do expect to provide scientific knowledge to Indian scientific community and to the humanity. Let me also say before we close that the ISRO team is now building the PSLV D5 that was originally scheduled for launch on August 19, 2013. And we do expect to come back here by December 2013 for that historical launch, which would be the fructification of nearly 2 decades of effort by generations of ISRO team. I take this opportunity to thank all of you for the support that you have given, the encouragement that you have given, and our friends in the media for the excellent coverage that they have given through print media and the visual media and through the Facebook. Be with us, and we would be updating you on almost daily basis on where the Mars orbiter spacecraft is and what is its condition. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you.